Hello, my name is Kevin Mankey. What I'd like to show you today is a demonstration on clamp load and how it affects our fatigue resistance of our fastened joint. What we'll have here is we're going to have two load cells. First load cell is going to be reading the load directly onto our fastener. As we apply our clamp load, we'll be seeing that load being applied to that fastener. Load cell 2 will be showing basically an externally applied load to that fastened joint. As we apply our load, we'll see how much effect and how much load variation we'll have on that fastener as it's being pulled apart from that fastened joint. The 1/2" 13 SAE J429 grade 5 fastener has a minimum tensile strength of 120,000 pounds per square inch, which equals 17,000 pounds for this fastener. It also has a minimum proof strength of 85,000 psi, or for the 1/2" 13, 12,000 pounds. As we see on our chart, we have a straight portion of our curve, which isn't the elastic region of the fastener. For our ideal condition for our fastened joint, we want to keep the fastener in that elastic region, which is also dictated by the minimum proof strength of the fastener. As we exceed the minimum proof strength, we start to see the bolt necking down, as well as our curve tailing off. This is now we're in the plastic region of the fastened material, until we hit our ultimate tensile strength, which is the highest portion of the curve, and then it continues to neck down to eventual failure. To demonstrate our effect on the clamp load and how it affects our externally applied load and our fatigue resistance of our fastener, we're going to be using our 1/2" 13 grade 5 fastener once again, which, as we saw, has a minimum tensile strength of approximately 17,000 pounds and a minimum proof strength of 12,000 pounds. Our clamp load, optimal clamp load for that fastener, is approximately 75% of the proof strength, which is going to be about 9,000 pounds. As we saw in some of the earlier videos with the torque-tension relationship, we affect that torque-tension relationship by adding friction, by reusing the fastener. As we saw, by the 4th install, we saw a clamp load dropped all the way down to under 3,000 pounds. So that's the value we're going to use for our low clamp load. Now we're going to be applying our load to that fastener. We're going to see how much effect it has actually on the load variation that that fastener sees. Now, fatigue is the #1 cause of fastened joint failures that we experience. Fatigue is can be estimated at about 10 to 20% of the minimum tensile strength. So that's the value, basically load variation or load fluctuation that fastener can support over the course of its life. Now, if we estimate minimum tensile strength on this fastener at 17,000 pounds, basically the optimum or minimum fatigue strength of that fastener is going to be approximately 2,200 pounds at 15% of that minimum tensile strength. So that's over the course of the time. It may be 50,000, maybe 60,000 cycles, but eventually you're going to have that fatigue fracture of that fastener. So we'll start here. We're going to look at our low clamp load. So this is where I'm going to take it approximately that 3,000 pounds of clamp load. And we're tightening it up to 3,000 pounds, approximately, about there. And now we're going to apply our external load. So this load is going to be basically pulling apart the fastener itself. So we're going to start at we're going to apply a load of 6,000 pounds, which is our external load. Once again, still well within the limitation of our fastener of a grade 5 1/2" 13. And we're just going to be pulling this joint apart. So what we'll see is our nice straight line until we start to exceed that load of the fastener. Now the fastener is seeing more of that externally applied load. So still we're about 1,000 pounds, starting to increase here. Now it's being shared with the joint until we get to the point where now the fastener is going to see basically the entire load, which is what we're seeing here. So slow it down. We're now at 5,000 pounds and right about there. Now let's reapply that load, once again to about 6,000 pounds. So I'll go a little bit slower. Let's do it one more time. This time I'll take it a little bit slower as we get closer. So here we're seeing the external load being applied to the fastened joint, basically equal to our applied load. So stop at about 6,000 again, and stop at that point. So what we saw here was we had our starting clamp load, 3,000 pounds, our ending load, which is basically equal to our applied load of approximately 6,000 pounds. 3,000 pounds of an external load excursion, or basically load being added onto that fastener. Now, carry that out on the fasten joint, we're seeing 3,000 pounds basically going up and down on that fastener. That's that load fluctuation. That's at our low clamp load. Now let's tighten that fasten joint up to optimal clamp load of approximately 9,000 pounds. Oops. Start at about 8,900. Once again, we're going to apply our external load once again here to the fastener itself. So start about 8,900 pounds, and we apply our load. Now, some of the load is being seen by the fastener, but the majority of it's taken up by their joint, which is how the fasten joint works optimally. So we're at 2,000. Saw a little bit of a jump here. Now we're at that 3,000 point where we saw it earlier, where now the entire load was seen before by the fastener. Now it's still being shared by our joint. And we're at 6,000 pounds right there. So we saw about a jump of about 800 pounds. Now drop it back down, come back up again. Down. All right, so now we're seeing another load being applied. Here's our second load. We're going to stop at 6,000 pounds again. Once again, about 9,600 pounds was that load that we've seen. If we dropped it down, come back up again, get up to 6,000 pounds for our third load. Right there. So basically what we're trying to show, at that high clamp load, we saw a load excursion or a load fluctuation of about 800 pounds. Once again, 800 pounds, the load excursion. That bolt can withstand 12,000 pounds of proof strength, 17,000 pounds of minimum tensile strength before it breaks, but really only about 2,200 pounds load fluctuation. Now, if you estimate that cycle, let's say 15 times per hour, that bolt is seeing that amount of load fluctuation. 15 times per hour is about 360 times per day. Over the course of a year, you're looking at about 131,000 cycles of that load being applied, which is where the fastener is going to fail at that load excursion or load fluctuation of 3,000 pounds, versus we're going to have a long life of a fastener at only 800 pounds of load variation over that same time. So we're affecting the life of the fastener by going with that higher clamp load initially, absorbing more of the applied loads to the joint and not to the fastener itself. The low clamp load, we saw all the load being applied to the fastener. Now, if we had that fluctuation once again, we saw 3,000 pounds of load fluctuation versus 800 pounds of load fluctuation.